Good evening and welcome to another episode of PedTalkz, and I'm going to provide my review of Chelsea versus West Ham. But before we get to it, I have a special guest this evening. They're in town at the moment and they just wanted to say a few words, so I'll just go and get them. Yeah, all right. Yeah, it's Nick Jagger from the Rolling Stones. I hope you're all right. Yeah, just in town, got a gig, and I just thought I'm a massive fan of the show. Do you know, I really love PedTalkz. So if you want to like and subscribe, go ahead. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, listen, big Chelsea fan, and I hear you're looking for a really good target front man, and I'm the best in the business. So just give me a call when you need me. Yeah. Anyway, have a great show and see you next time. Yeah. Jumping jack flash, gas. Right, yeah. So nice of Mick to pop by. Who would have known he was a fan of the show? So, back to business. Chelsea versus West Ham at Stamford Bridge, and the starting lineup with Edouard Mendy in goal. In comes Wesley Fofana, having signed for the club only 2 days before, straight into the foray. And in the centre of defence, Thiago Silva, and on the left side, Koulibaly. What a back three that potentially is going to be. And I was extremely excited to see how they would develop during the game. Few changes in the other parts of the team. So in midfield, Conor Gallagher returns after suspension. Georgie drops to the bench. In comes Kovacic to start his first game. And indeed, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who has been a really pleasant surprise this season so far, has been one of the highlights for us. Either side of the midfield, Reece James returns after a small bout of illness, and Cucurella now in his customary left-sided wing-back role, keeping Ben Chilwell out of the team at the moment. And then up front, surprisingly, Pulisic with his first start alongside the ever-present Raheem Sterling. So just on that team, really... The front was really disappointing for me. I think Pulisic is not ready. He is not in the right mindset, and essentially every opportunity he has been given to come on really hasn't set the world alight. So slightly concerned that we didn't have a proper focal point, and given that West Ham are a big physical team who set up defensively and are extremely difficult to break down, I was not hopeful for this formation. But anyway, on paper, a team that should put away most of the other clubs in the Premier League. But West Ham are really, I think, a club on the ascendancy in many ways and have spent big in the transfer window. Paqueta came in, one of their new exciting Brazilian young signings. So we will see how the game progressed. The first half, to be quite frank, was a horrid and turgid affair. Little happened. A lot of possession for Chelsea, with the odd counter-attack from West Ham, who largely kept us at bay. They were quite happy to sit in two banks of four and frustrate Chelsea, and that is exactly what they did. We really had no cutting edge, with Pulisic providing little threat up front and Sterling left very isolated, eventually having to come deeper and deeper to receive the ball and get into the play. So the less said about the first half, the better. Coming into half-time, you could see that West Ham's tails were up. They had done their job effectively, and David Moyes' game plan was working to perfection. Out they came in the second half, and West Ham started with slightly more vigour, and I think the game needed a few more robust tackles, which started to take place. On 60 minutes, enough was enough, and in came Armando Broja and Mason Mount, replacing Gallagher and the young Pulisic up front. And indeed made an instant impact. His energy, his guile, his determination, putting the defenders off and getting in amongst it, putting his foot in, reminded me of a young Diego Costa, which is exactly what we need. Has just signed a 6-year contract, and I think he is definitely one for the future, and a very exciting future indeed. So whilst we were a little bit more less toothless in attack, Clearly, West Ham were growing in confidence, and this culminated in another set-piece goal conceded at Stamford Bridge. And quite frankly, this is getting extremely worrying and needs to be rectified immediately by Thomas Tuchel. There is simply panic stations at every set piece that has happened in the last few games, and this was no different. The ball was played in and Mendy flaps at it again. He did not get any distance on his flick. And the ball was squared again by Rice on the goal line, and Antonio pokes it over for 1-0 to West Ham. Just a small piece on Mendy at the moment. He is not, his behaviours on the pitch are not instilling our defence with any degree of confidence whatsoever. And unfortunately, it's precipitating through the whole of our defence and causing us to basically make mistakes. Individual errors are costing us, and it nearly cost us again in this game. So at 1-0 up, West Ham had their tails up, but actually Chelsea decided that the definition of insanity is to do the same thing and expect a different result, and therefore we had to up the ante and we started to attack with more vigour. On came Ben Chilwell and Kai Havertz on minute 72 to try and turn this around, and that is exactly what happened. Ben Chilwell getting in between the lines, getting behind the defence, and really start to cause them real pain with his movement, which culminated in a beautifully floated ball by Thiago Silva into their box, where two West Ham players converging on Chilwell. He makes an impressive leap for a small man, flicking the ball over, pirouetting, and then receiving the ball again and poking it into the ground and through the keeper's legs into the waiting net. The crowd erupts, and it's just what we needed. I think that was the turning point in our season. It was so needed. And we went from there on the front foot, and you could see the lift in the team, and we almost, the shackles were off, and it was wonderful to see. This sort of turgid football that we've been playing really has no place at Stamford Bridge, and I would rather concede a few goals but score a hatful like the old Brazil days than some of the football we've been witnessing over the last few games. So we carry on with gusto. There is a bit of back and forward, and clearly West Ham had their chances. Ben Rama gets to the byline, beating Fofana, whips in a ball, and inexplicably Cornet hits the post with a goal gaping, and we absolutely get away with one. We go up the other end of the pitch minutes later, and a unbelievable little run by Chilwell, helped by Brozier, crosses into Havertz, who times his run perfectly and places the ball into the corner of the net. Stamford Bridge is absolutely alight. The crowd erupts, and it's 2-1 to Chelsea, 88 minutes. We've just got to hold out and close the game. Unfortunately, Chelsea at the moment are incapable of just making the game neutral and closing it out in a professional manner. And what transpired is that West Ham get another opportunity through an error from Reece James. He heads the ball back to Mendy, but underhits it. Mendy hesitates. Jarrod Bowen gets the ball from the rebound, but he leaves his trailing leg on the chest of Mendy, who clearly is affected by that. How much is under debate, but essentially the ball breaks loose to Cornet, and this time he makes no mistake and fires the ball into the roof of the net. He flies over to the West Ham fans, and West Ham think they've equalised in the last minute. But hold on, the drama ensues. VAR are looking at the incident where Jarrod Bowen interferes with Mendy and leaves his trailing leg, and they believe that it potentially is a free kick, and ask the referee to go to the screen in order to look at that and address his decision. After a couple of minutes of viewing the screen and many different angles of the situation, the referee unbelievably reverses the decision and no goal is given. Chelsea close out the game 2-1 victors, and an absolutely vital 3 points for Chelsea Football Club. Is this the turning point? Is this the moment where we start to let the shackles off and start to fly? I sincerely hope so. I sincerely hope so, people. And we have an away trip to Dynamo Zagreb in the Champions League on Tuesday, I believe that's an opportunity, almost a training game for us, to get this method of football back on, because we need to play with more freedom. And I'm hoping Aubameyang and the acquisitions that we brought in gel and really start to enable us to play this more free-flowing football, because quite frankly, no one wants to watch what we've been watching. Okay, and I think that's a reflection on how the players have been playing and responding. Yes, we've been behind the curve. Yes, we're not as fit as other teams. We had a poor pre-season. Yes, it's a period of transition and we've got new owners. Yes, we spend a shed load of money. But the reality is this is a results business and we need to make it happen and make it happen quickly. But this was a vital 3 points. It puts us back into the top 6 and then over to Arsenal and Manchester United to see how that pans out. Hang on a second. Arsenal lose to Manchester United 3-1. Unbelievable. So Arsenal's 100% start is now over and Manchester United win 4 on the spin and they go back into the top 6 above Chelsea. Quite frankly, Ten Hag taking out Maguire and Cristiano Ronaldo has absolutely done the trick for United. Anthony scores his first goal. Unbelievable scenes at Manchester United, and they come out 3-1 winners against Arsenal with a brace for Rashford. So look, Man City have drawn, Liverpool have drawn on the weekend, and Arsenal have lost. So this is a topsy-turvy Premier League. It is highly, highly competitive. VAR is quite frankly a shambles at the moment. But let me leave you with this. Against Spurs, Mike Dean robbed us with VAR when Cucurella hair was pulled. It was clearly assault. It was nothing less than that. And we lost 2 points. We dropped 2 points, whereas we should have won against Spurs. We fully deserved it. And I think sometimes what goes around comes around, and it ends up levelling and balance itself out. So you have to be patient. And we took our moment against West Ham, and then we rode our luck. And maybe that was, the Premier League referees just levelling things up for us and saying, okay, we made a mistake. We're going to help you out this time. Whatever it might be, 3 points. And in the histories of times, we beat West Ham 2-1 at home at Stamford Bridge. Bring on Fulham on Saturday, another London derby away, and I'm so looking forward to it. Look, stay classy, everyone. Stay well, and let's make it happen.